I should have left the theatre the moment I realized I was the only person watching the movie. Not almost the only person. Not mostly empty. Completely alone. Except for the man sitting 3 rows behind me, who wasn't there when the movie started. And somehow, I never heard him walk in. This happened about 2 years ago. I couldn't sleep one night and decided to drive to a late showing at this old cinema about 40 minutes outside the city. It was one of those run-down theatres, barely hanging on after streaming killed most small movie places. I actually liked it because nobody ever went there. Cheap tickets, quiet, empty. At least, that's what I thought I wanted. The parking lot should have warned me. There were maybe 3 cars total. Mine, an old employee sedan near the side entrance, and a rusted van parked crooked near the edge of the lot, with all the windows covered from the inside. I remember staring at it for a second before going in. Something about it felt wrong. The lobby was almost completely dark, except for the concession stand lights. There was one employee working. Young guy. Couldn't have been older than 20. And the weird thing was, he looked nervous when I asked for a ticket. Like genuinely nervous. I joked, "Slow night?" And he immediately replied, "You should sit near the exit." I laughed because I thought he was kidding. He didn't laugh back. Then he handed me the ticket without saying another word. That feeling stayed with me while I walked toward Theatre 6. The hallway smelled strange. Not popcorn, not cleaning chemicals. Something damp, like old carpet after heavy rain. The movie had already started by the time I walked in, and the theatre was empty. Completely empty. Honestly, I loved that at first. I sat near the middle row, put my feet up, and relaxed. For maybe 20 minutes, everything was normal. Then I noticed the emergency exit door at the bottom of the theatre slowly creak open. Not all the way, just enough to create a thin line of light. I assumed an employee walked in, but nobody came through. The door stayed cracked open for several minutes, then slowly closed again. That unsettled me more than it should have. I kept trying to focus on the movie, but I couldn't stop glancing toward the exit. That's when I heard the sound behind me. A cough. Very quiet. I turned around immediately. And there was a man sitting 3 rows behind me near the aisle. I swear to God he had not been there before. I would have noticed. The theatre was empty, and I never heard footsteps, never heard the seat move. Nothing. The man was older, maybe late 50s. Thin, wearing a dark coat even though the theatre was warm. And he was staring directly at me. Not watching the movie, watching me. I gave him this awkward nod people do when they accidentally make eye contact. He didn't react, didn't blink, just kept staring. I turned back toward the screen, trying to convince myself I was overreacting. But after maybe 30 seconds, I realized I could still feel him looking at me. You know that feeling when somebody's eyes are physically on you? That. I looked back again. Same exact position, same expression, still staring.
At this point, I started getting genuinely uncomfortable. So I pulled out my phone, pretending to check messages while secretly angling the screen to see behind me. And that's when my stomach dropped. The seats behind me looked empty on the phone camera. Completely empty. I lowered the phone slowly and looked with my own eyes. The man was still there, watching me. I stood up immediately, and the moment I did, he smiled. Not normal smiling, too wide, like he hadn't done it in a long time and forgot how. I started walking toward the aisle without looking directly at him anymore, and I heard him whisper something, very softly. At first, I couldn't understand it. Then he repeated it louder. "You came alone." I walked faster.
The second I reached the hallway outside the theatre, I realized something worse. The lobby lights were now off, completely off. The only illumination came from the glowing movie posters along the walls. The entire place looked abandoned. I yelled, "Hello?" No response. Not from employees, not from other customers, nothing. Then I heard the theatre door slowly open behind me. I didn't turn around immediately. I don't know why. Maybe part of me didn't want confirmation he was there. Then I heard footsteps, slow, dragging slightly across the carpet. I finally looked back. The man was standing in the doorway now, still smiling. And somehow he looked taller than before. Not physically taller, just wrong. Like his proportions had changed somehow.
I backed away while pulling my phone out to call somebody. No signal. Inside the building, my phone suddenly had 0 bars. The man tilted his head slightly and whispered, "They never believe you." Then the lights in the hallway flickered, just once, and for maybe half a second, he looked different. I still can't fully explain this part. His face looked stretched, too pale, eyes completely black in the darkness. Then the lights stabilized and he looked normal again, or as normal as he ever looked. I started moving toward the front lobby as fast as I could without fully running, and I could hear him following me behind me the entire time. Not rushing, just walking. Slow, deliberate footsteps. The kind that tell you somebody already knows they'll catch you.
When I reached the lobby, the concession stand was empty, but the employee who sold me the ticket had left something on the counter. A handwritten note. I grabbed it immediately. It said, "Don't let him get close to you." That's when I heard the theatre entrance doors lock behind me. Loud, metal clicking shut. I spun around. The man was standing at the end of the hallway now. Closer than before. Way closer. And smiling even wider. I ran for the side exit near the bathrooms. Locked. I tried another door. Locked. That's when the theatre speakers suddenly turned on overhead. Static blasted through the building so loudly I nearly dropped my phone. Then a voice came through the speakers. Calm. Distorted. Male. Last showing of the night. The lights shut off completely.
I don't remember making the decision to run. My body just did it automatically. I sprinted blindly through the darkness toward where I remembered the front entrance being. And behind me, I could hear him running too now. Not walking anymore. Running. fast. The worst part was the sound his shoes made on the carpet. Too quick, too close. I slammed into the front doors hard enough to hurt my shoulder. Locked. Panic fully took over. I started kicking the glass while hearing footsteps getting closer behind me. Then suddenly, the doors unlocked. I practically fell into the parking lot. Cold air hit me, and I ran straight for my car without looking back. I drove out of there so fast I almost hit the curb leaving the lot. And as I pulled onto the road, I looked in the rearview mirror one last time. The man was standing under the theatre marquee, watching my car disappear. Completely still. 3 days later, I looked the theatre up online. It had been permanently closed for almost 8 months. And according to local news articles, the last employee working there disappeared during a late-night screening. They never found him. But the detail that still keeps me awake sometimes was the attached security photo. Because standing in the background of the empty lobby was the same man smiling at the camera. And the timestamp on the image was from 1997.